Project Zomboid is one of the hardest zombie survival simulators of all time, but what if your survivor truly thought they were sent from above to cleanse the world of zombies, all while preaching at every church possible? While it may sound simple, this is the hardest challenge I've ever done, requiring me to traverse the entire map, all while putting myself at risk in every possible situation. This one has an ending that you might not expect, so make sure to stick around for that. This is Shannon. Saint Shannon III, a young up-and-comer in the hottest new religion. And this religion is looking for a new messiah. Everyone is trying to prove themselves to the savior by using churches for their ritualistic saving of zombies. Saint Shannon is beginning her journey at her host family's, but feels confident that she can prove herself to the savior. While at my host family's house, I'd found a frying pan, and while my usual go-to was a ruler, I knew I could make this work. I also already had my sanctioned religious garb, but I did find some stylish military boots, which there's no way I could have said no to. I also said goodbye to my host family and thanked them for having me, even if we didn't see eye to eye. Now, because this challenge was unlike any I'd ever done, because I'd only done one, I'd have to have a plan. And this plan hinged on two things. First, find a car, then preach at the church. The Pope Mobile would serve as my escape vehicle if things went awry, and would come in handy since the next place I had to go to was so far away. And while I had trouble finding a Messiah Mustang, I was able to find the first church on my list. Now, I was having trouble finding a vehicle and any civilian that would let me borrow their car. Maybe the savior was looking down on me because I had prioritized material wealth over spiritual, so much that I was sent a message from above. A warning to think about my looting characteristic that I quickly tried to tune out. I mean, the savior doesn't know everything. This seems targeted, and with one honestly crazy profit spent, it was time to move on to the next one. This is Saint Romo, the true prophet of our savior who would bring peace to the world. Now let's remember the plan. Find the car, preach at the church. And while she did find the church to start her sermon, she was not chosen. Okay, Saint Witherspoon, find the car, get to the church. Bro, what? I guess you have to crack a couple eggs to find a new messiah. Just kidding, a lot of eggs. This is Saint Swift, and she's ready to shake it off. How she's gonna do things differently? Church, then car. Bingo. And while the church had accepted its messiah, this was my first sermon, so I didn't know what I was doing. But word traveled quicker than I could find my Pope Mobile, and I was chased out of town. But my eyes were on the horizon, on the next church on my list. And with that, I walked. And then I continued walking. And then I walked some more. Boy, maybe I should have done car then church. Anyway, after walking for almost a full day, I found an abandoned house to spend the night. I woke up to a rainstorm that was the equivalent of a tsunami at my door, but being from Oregon, I saw no issue. So I grabbed my Wheaties and I left prepared for a little drizzle. Okay, maybe at least I could have grabbed a jacket. And after a full day of traveling, I finally found the second town where I would get to do my first sermon in which I wouldn't do any push-ups. And as I approached the site, I saw a couple of interested parties, and so I beckoned them inside, hoping to cleanse them once and for all. And I was lucky enough to get one ascendant and one looky-loo. That means it was off to the next location, and of course I was chased out of town. I mean, what do people hate so much about ritualistic violence anyway? And after finally proving myself with having at least one ascendant, and more importantly, a little looky-loo, I'd finally found a key to a car. A key to a car that actually existed, proving that I might be blessed enough to actually be the Messiah. Don't look at that. You know, my grandpa says that as long as it has 4 wheels and gets you from point A to point B, then you have nothing to complain about. So I might as well be counting my blessings. And blessings were to be had because the next church I had filled to the brim with ascendants. In celebration of such a huge feat, I spent some time in town trying some of the local food, meeting some of the people, from a distance of course, cause ew. During my excursion I even found a map from somebody named Natalie, and it said whoever found this needed to find some treasure and save humanity. So I threw it away. I mean, it seemed a little fishy. How am I supposed to believe something that somebody I don't know wrote a real long time ago? Plus, I was already on a more important path to save humanity. Now, while I already had a few ascendants and followers, I knew that wouldn't be enough, so I thought I needed to get a little experimental with it. Introducing Night Sermon, the new sexy way to experience cultism. But it looks like the church was already used that day for a sermon, so no one showed up until showtime. And I have to admit, the night sermon was an overwhelming success. So much that I will admit I did not get as many ascendants as I wanted and just had to leave. But hey, that's cult business, baby. And after that embarrassment, I hatched up a new plan. I was following was the old ways. I was the Messiah. I was there to innovate on these old traditions. Is it still a blessing if it's only 2 wheels? Okay, well now it's not even getting me from point A to point B. So yet again, I would be blessed with another day of walking. God, I should have gotten a car in the first town. And on my journey, I started to wonder, was that a sign from above saying that I shouldn't get experimental with it? Or just pure coincidence? Then I got distracted killing this person that I'm not even sure was a zombie and ransacking their gear. And as I approached the next destination, riddled with questions, I decided to move forward with the plan of getting experimental with it. Because I was put on this earth for a reason. I was here to leave the legacy of Saint Swift. How's it going? Oh, not bad, just cult stuff. So I decided to go ahead with it, cause what's the worst that could happen? And so I turned this small, rinky-dink church filled with nobody into this. But this wasn't experimental. This is something I've done before. I was looking to free people's minds and bodies from this plane of existence. Hopefully, that's experimental enough? This way, the people's minds would be free just like the Savior wanted, but also the people's bodies would be free as well. And for once, I felt connected to old Pop Pup upstairs and like I finally did something right. And after sacrificing myself in service to others, I was finally ready to go back home and rest. The people might not be happy, but at least the Savior might be pleased that there were a few more souls sacrificed for them. And in such an innovative way, if I do say so myself. Oh, fuck. So if this is your first time seeing Project Zomboid, or you haven't survived long enough to hear about the helicopter event, it's this random thing that happens that I've never experienced, where a helicopter follows you for God knows why, but it means that zombies are going to be attracted to you for the couple of hours that the helicopter follows you around. This was my first time dealing with the helicopter event. I was not in the best place to start it, but luckily I was able to escape. At this point, days were going by without me noticing. I was feeling lost and punished by the All-Great One. I tried to do sermons without brutal violence, but it just wasn't the same. There was too much niceness in this world, and all I wanted to do was cleanse these people. But no, the Savior just wants people to die and not be burned. Loser! I mean, this wasn't even a church. I was doing cemetery gigs at this point. I was losing my following. I was hurt. I was angry. I went to the biggest church in one of the biggest cities and there was no one. That's when I decided we weren't revamping the old ways. It was out with the old ways. I realized I just poured gasoline on the ground. I didn't know how to light it. So this next one would be out with the old ways and in with the new ways. And as I stared into the flames, I saw a possible future. A future that I hadn't considered before. A future where our bodies decomposed but our minds lived forever. A world in which I could live forever. All those people I thought I was helping, I was really cursing. But more importantly, I could live forever. They were the free ones, and I was the one who was lost. That's when I thought the clearest I'd ever had in my life. And as I barreled towards the last 2 largest churches, I knew that they both had to go down so that we may live a free life. I was losing gas, I was getting injured, but I was too powerful now, and I could not be stopped. The Savior think he could punish me? Think again. Find a car? Preach at the church? How about no car? How about no church. How about thinking for myself for once? This was my moment, a legacy to live on beyond me. And as I tripped over the door to the largest cathedral in the city, I gathered my following to create my magnum opus. Oh, this place would do. The place had to go down, but I wanted freedom, just like the rest of these people had. And freedom is just what I got. So in case you're wondering, this is what true freedom looks like. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is a little bit of a weird one, but for this one I wanted to do a little bit of a story. And thank you for the people who have subscribed from watching my last video. It really means a lot to me. I worked really hard on that one and this one. So if you want to see more Project Zomboid, make sure to follow, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye guys.